When you hear the word hero, what comes to mind? Maybe it's superpowers, capes and tights, or a secret identity. A person fictional movies are made about. But there are heroes who don't dress up and who live among us, even in Grand Island, Nebraska. One hero's name, David Kaufmann, known by many as a businessman, but beneath the surface, he was so much more. What he did for Jewish people during the horrors of the Holocaust may not be in your history books, but coming soon, his story will be told like many hero stories on the big screen. The Hall County Historical Society and the Institute for Holocaust Education are putting together a documentary about Kaufmann's incredible life. Michelle Setlick, Vice President of the Hall County Historical Society Board, told me a bit about Kaufmann's life. She said he was born in Germany in 1875 and began his professional life in retail and merchandising in Germany. At the age of 28, he left Germany and moved to America, working in Brooklyn, New York as a window dresser at a local department store. According to Setlick, a chance meeting brought Kaufmann across the country.
Mr. Wallback, he was a businessman here in Grand Island. He owned a department store, and he went on shopping trips to New York. And one of those shopping trips, he saw this window display, and he approached the man that he thought had done the display. The funny thing is, David actually didn't do that one. He did a different one. But he encouraged him to come to Grand Island and work for him. And it was selling him on this community it was originally organized by German immigrants. Of course, by this time in 1900, the Germans were in the minority, but still there were a lot of German immigrants. Wallback himself was Jewish, Kaufmann was Jewish. And he said, you know, we have this brand new community, this young community. It's only 30 years old. There's so many opportunities. Come here to Grand Island. And Kaufmann did. He came.
On March 10th, 1904, Kaufmann began working at S.N. Wallback & Sons department store in Grand Island. But according to Setlick, Kaufmann was not fond of the Midwestern life, at least at first.
And at first, he absolutely hated it. In fact, he even wrote to his brother back in Germany, and he's like, find me a job, get me out of here. You know, there's no building over 2 stories tall here.
But 7 months after sending the letter home, Kaufmann's brother wrote back, telling him that he has a promising mercantile business for him. But Kaufmann changed his mind about returning home and files for U.S. citizenship on Halloween 1904. Wallback's mentorship gave Kaufmann a start to become a strong businessman. He invested in the Commercial State Bank in Grand Island and later became the director of the bank. Also, Kaufmann partnered with 2 others, opening a 5 and 10-cent store right here on 3rd Street in Grand Island, where at the time it was only the 3rd in the city. But one of his greatest accomplishments is acquiring the Leiter Theater and then renaming it the Grand Theater, which is still here today. And around this time is when the world saw an increase in ethnic discrimination towards his people, Jewish people, in Germany. It was the building of this sentiment that Kaufmann paid close attention to. Then, in 1933, Adolf Hitler was elected Chancellor of Germany. This led to extreme discrimination towards Jewish people, concentration camps, and eventually the extermination of 6 million Jews. After getting a letter requesting help from family member Theodore Kahn in 1936, Kaufmann decided to take action, sponsoring the Kahn family and bringing them over to America, saving their lives.
I was possibly a teenager when I met him for the first time, and he was held in awe by all of us for what he did. We knew what he did, and how do you say thank you or show appreciation to someone who did as much as he did, basically saving your life.
They would have all been in concentration camps, I'm sure.
And as things got worse, Craig Hand says Kaufmann ramped up his efforts.
He was quite a philanthropist. He was instrumental in getting a whole bunch of Jewish people out of Germany so they wouldn't get exterminated in the camps. And he actually sponsored them to come to America. So he saved a lot of people's lives. He was quite the guy.
So when she and Izzy came here to Grand Island, Fia would then go to David and say, this person has been accosted, this person has been arrested, this person needs help. And she kept bringing him names, and then he continued to sponsor additional people to come to the United States.
Historians say Kaufmann gave 80 families of more than 200 people refuge. handing them $50 checks, which if you do the math on how much that would be worth today, it's a little over $1,000 each. That totals up to more than $80,000 in 2023.
He did offer them jobs. So Izzy went to work in David Kaufmann's store here in Grand Island, and then he ended up opening up his own business here in Grand Island as well.
But not many know of this story, which speaks even more to the kind of man Kaufmann was.
I heard about that about 5 years ago when there was a book that was written about David Kaufmann and what he did for bringing folks over from Europe, and it was pretty much well, no one knew about it.
I don't think he cared for the notoriety and the publicity behind it. He just wanted to keep it quiet.
A quiet, humble man, even though he did things in the community and was in the Chamber of Commerce and different things, he was never a me guy.
I don't think there's much they know at all because it's never really been publicized in articles that I've seen or anything.
David Kaufmann passed away in Grand Island in 1969. But his legacy lives on, with a documentary being made on his life coming in summer 2024, premiering at the theater he once owned, the Grand Theater. Kaufmann may have passed away over 50 years ago, but the impact he's had on people's lives still lives on today. One example, Kaufmann's relative, Marcel Kahn.
If you save one life, you've saved the world.